Hello, how are you doing? It's a morning. I just woke up. I hope you guys are good. I'm back for another episode. It's been a minute and I've just been so busy doing some things, and now I'm ready to continue again. And so from today, you expect my video every single day. Like from today, like which date is today? I don't know. But from today, I'll be posting every single day. So today I'm going to talk about causes of trauma, and I believe that everybody has gone through this thing, and I just feel like we need to address it because that's what we go through as humans. It's part of our lives and we can't keep avoiding this topic forever, so we have to talk about it today. Yeah, so I want you to understand trauma can be caused with lack of something or too much of something. I'll help you understand how this too much can become. Like too much of neglect, too much of something apart, and also lack of something completely. Like when you're poor and stuff like that can make you be that person who end up growing up to be a traumatized person. And this can actually show up in your daily activities. This can show up in your choices. This can show up in your relationships with other people. Like you might not really consciously think about it, but if someone who is like let's say well read enough, or maybe just good in psychology and all those kind of stuff, they can actually see these things. I think personally I grew up not seeing these things, but right now I can see them. I can actually just know this person has this kind of, like, you know, those trauma bonding situationships or relationship. You can just see like this person doesn't really truly love this person, they're just scared to be alone and stuff like that. You know, you can actually see them as you understand everything around psychology and trauma and all that stuff. So the first thing is actually neglect. This can actually happen, like you can be neglected either emotionally or physically. And I personally, I think I am a victim of neglect, and I grew up to always have this mind that I'm an independent person. I depend on myself. No one can help me. Like I have to do things on my own. And I think by the time I was 9 years old, I was already an adult. I was already ready to fight and just do things in life on my own, because I had realized that you are on your own. Like no one is there for you. So I think I was always that person who never accepted help. Like up to right now, I'm still fighting this urge of always being the one doing something rather than allowing other people to help you, or just work through like things with other people together. Like I've always been like, I have to do it on my own. Like I don't care who is going to help me. Like I've always like have that mind where I'm supposed to do things. It just doesn't matter if somebody will help me or if I'll need help. Like I never had that. I think currently I'm learning to allow people to help me. I'm learning to allow the fact that I do not know everything. I cannot do everything on my own. Like people can come in and help me, and that's just me. That's how I actually came out of that. And I don't know how other people respond to it, but most people always tend to have that kind of like independency, which is too much. Like they think that they have to do things on their own, and they completely withdraw from everyone because they always believe like somebody will leave them just like they were left. And I think I was that person. I was always scared somebody will leave me. My friend will not be my friend anymore. Like I was always like worrying, like what if this friend of mine goes to become another person's friend? What if this guy I'm dating goes to become someone else? Like I was always on that verge. And I think after I started working on that, things became very different. I never have to like worry about friendships and all those things. People always just come. I don't have to even ask them, can you come? Like it's crazy. It's like crazy, the law of attraction. Like the more you don't want something, the more it comes. And that's so crazy. So number 2, we have violence and abuse, and also humiliation. Let's put humiliation under this one. So violence and abuse can actually also happen emotionally or physically. Like probably you are thoroughly beaten by the people who brought you up, or maybe your teachers, for like little things, you know. Personally, I've gone through that, and sometimes I look back and I wonder, why were these people killing me? Like why were they beating me? Like what was the big deal? And I'm just like wondering, like what is this big thing that I did that these people were physically abusing me or beating me? I feel like people always have this thing. They say, oh, that's your father, or that's your mother, or that's your teacher. Let them beat you so that you can be a disciplined person. And I feel like that's basically an old way of thinking or reasoning. This is a new world and things are very different. Human beings are people who have intelligence. You can just talk to someone, you can just find a way to get things through. But if you actually beat your child, they will get used to it and it will become very normal. I remember I'm that person who used to be beaten so much by my parents and also by teachers. So it reached a time whereby when they actually want to beat you, you're just like, okay, this is so normal, like go ahead and beat me because this is very normal. And I feel like that was very wrong to actually acknowledge to be abused. And when I see somebody saying that, oh, it's okay to abuse someone and stuff like that, it's just very cringy. Like the other day I was in the gym, then there was a lady who was saying that the husband usually beats the child, and I was just like, okay. And then she was just like, hey, that child is becoming rude, that's very normal. And I said, there's only one thing they cannot say right now because it's right now, because the consequences of that comes as a long-term thing. Like as you grow older, you realize that. For me, I think what happened in the process of being abused or stuff like that, I tended to be a very shy person. I tended to be somebody who was always scared that I might do the wrong things, so I never did anything. Cause like if I can do something wrong, like I literally just sit around and say, now I'm not going to do anything because I might do something wrong. So basically I was a dormant person, like very dormant, and I just felt so shy, like to even like say something. Even when I was like I need something, I wouldn't say it because like I just can't say it. Like since I was born I've been beaten, like how can I say what I want and no one is even ready to listen? And I feel like that's something that people assume a lot, and we are not primates. We're not living in the days when people used to use their energy or they are fighting to survive. We're in a different generation and people just never acknowledge that thing. They just want to stay in those days when people used to use their energy, where the strongest people were the leaders and the ones who were given the authority because they were the strongest, they could fight for the enemies. But now it's a different kind of life. We just have to use our brains to survive. Like if we use our strength, then I don't know. I've never used my strength to survive, so I don't know how that works out. I don't know. The third thing is poverty. Though I had actually explained poverty before in my first video, my first episode, and I feel like it's fine to repeat it again because that's actually the core most and the most biggest thing that causes most of the traumas. And poverty, I don't know how we can solve this one, because we do have poverty of information, we have poverty of ideas, we have poverty of how to like do things. We don't have ideas, we don't have capital, we don't have money. And this is a big thing when it comes to causes of trauma, because when you lack information, basically you will do the wrong things. And when you don't and you have information but you do not have maybe money, at one point or another, especially when you're a child, you don't understand things. You might have to you start questioning things and you wonder like, how are things this way? How is my family like this and the other person's family like this? And that's a very sensitive part, and I just hope that as an individual person you figure out how you're going to solve that, because that's quite a hard one. Poverty is solvable at a personal level. That's the only thing I can say. And then we have accidents. Accidents can actually cause trauma to someone. Basically, probably you are involved in one and you always live to remember that day forever. You're even scared to, like, let's say, take long distances. Maybe probably that's when you actually were in an accident, or also when you witness. And I gave an example last week and I said, like, I witnessed my friend fall with a motorbike in front of my eyes, and I was planning to start a riding session or something like that, just like to learn a new skill. And in between I saw this girl and the whole thing just flashed on my face. I think from that day, since 2019 up to right now, I have never thought of riding a motorbike or a bicycle or anything of that sort, because what I saw is enough, like, for me to, like, you know, not really go into it. And I feel like that's also one of the causes. Whether you're watching an accident or you are part of it, it can actually traumatize you. So you need to find a way, whether you're going to a therapist or maybe find a way to process those emotions, either way, so that you can actually at least live a better life or a normal life. I don't know how you're going to say this probably a better life, so that you can actually be a free person. Because when you have those incidents that are flashing back in your mind, it's so dangerous, because you can actually be living them. Like, you actually, it happened long time ago, but it feels like it's happening right now, so you start to live them again like it's so normal, and it feels like it's still part of your life right now. Number 5, we have natural disasters. These are things like floods, earthquakes. You know, like when a flood happened, or an earthquake, or maybe a tsunami, I don't know, you can find that some families are affected. Most families or most things are affected. Probably the floods carry away your home, they carry away the things that you had, and probably just twist your life around completely. And that's a big thing, and it's a life-changing thing. And most cases, people are actually depressed or stressed after this event. And if this thing is not like processed and accepted, and somebody is able to move on from it, it will always feel like it's there. Like, it will always feel like it's still there. It will always feel like the flood is still taking place, the earthquake is still happening. I know this is crazy, because for me, the things that actually happened to me in the past, that I struggle so much to go to process them and maybe move on from them. There are times when I used to just sit like this and think I'm still part of those things. I'm still going through the things that hurt me. I'm still like humiliated. I'm still like insecure. Like, I used to have that, but I think as time goes by, I've been working so much on myself, and I can say that it's a big difference. Like, I'm just a whole new person, because I feel so different about so many things. And I don't feel insecure anymore. I don't feel like I need to explain myself to anyone anymore. Like, it's quite a good step to make ahead, and I believe that everybody should try at least to work on themselves for a while, like a bit, just a little bit, not too much, just a bit. The 6th thing is conflicts and wars. You know, those conflicts that happened, for example, the Al-Shabaab ones, the ones that happened like years ago. So for example, you are involved with your family, or maybe where you are working, whatever happened, this is something that is not going to be that easy to get over. It's possible that you can actually stay in your life forever if you don't process it, if you don't accept it and let it go. If you actually have that way, like for me, I've always been that person who is always in denial. Like, I've always been in denial of the things that happened to me. I was always scared to feel them. I was always scared to admit them, because I was always feeling like it's not supposed to be like that, so I'm not supposed to feel like that. And point is, everything good and bad happens to us, and what really matters is how you're going to address it, how you're going to approach it, how you're going to react to it, how you're going to feel about it. And once you know that everything in the world is normal, and that's how life will become. Like, if you tell yourself everything is normal, it's just how you approach it and how you decide to let it go, something like that. That's when you'll actually get to understand it. But if you feel like this is so huge, why is it happening to me, like you keep questioning, and it's crazy that you can end up having the same situations happening, because it's still in your mind. So you find to tend to relive them. You relive the moments, and you wonder like, how is this happening? And that's how it happens for us to be able to date the same person, just a different body, a different name, but the characters are the same, because you never accepted the fact that something was wrong. And let me tell you, crazy is never about the other person, it's actually about you. So when you say, oh, I had this crazy ex, you are also crazy. Like, this thing is actually crazy because you actually attract the people who are like you. So you end up having those crazy people in your life because you're crazy as well. And for me, I used to deny that, but one time I found myself in a very toxic friendship. And I think from there, it took me a lot to think about it and wonder, like, how am I in this kind of position? Like, how am I with this kind of person? Why is this person treating me like this? And it's crazy. And when I started to do the shadow work and all those things, I was like, probably it's because I have unhealed wounds that I tend to carry around. And when people who are the knacks, when they see that, they're ready to pound on it and like feast on it. And I think from then I started to work on myself, and it's been a great way, and I've never found a crazy person again. Probably I was also crazy, so yeah, it happens and it's very normal. And number last is loss and grief. This can happen when you lose somebody. Let's say you lose your parent, you lose your sister, we lose every single person in our lives. And that's why we need to detach from everything, because at the end of the day, we'll all die alone. Our journey is ours to live. It's supposed to be shared, but at the end of it, it's still yours. And we can also lose somebody through divorces and separation. That's also losing someone, basically in a physical way. Like, you can't have them close to you. That's actually losing them. So yeah, it happens a lot, and I feel like if somebody is not ready to admit the fact that this person is already not part of their lives and they have to move on, it's gonna take you the whole of your life reliving the same moment. You'll be scared to love someone else, you'll be scared to allow people in your life, because you'll be always thinking like, what if they will go away soon? What if they will also be like the other person? And yeah, they might be like the other person, but you're here to live life. You're not here to think of what ifs. And the more you think of what ifs, the more you will never have it. So like, I just enjoy talking about these causes of trauma, because this is one of the most neglected topic that people are scared to talk about. And if this is part of your life and people are trying to say, oh, you need to change your mindset, you need to do this and that, it's so difficult. It's so difficult to do all that when you're so insecure, when you're so scared, because people always know like, this person is so insecure, and it feels like you always have that picture painted on your face, and it's so hard for you to go for anything that you want to do if you are already insecure with your own self. And thank you for watching, and see you in my next episode, and hopefully we are gonna talk about everything that we missed out.